Are you looking to bring your business online? Today we're talking about having a website. Michael shares this is the perfect time to create your business and bring it online. He shares now is the time to act and that you can create the change you wish to see in the world. We also briefly talk about his passion to tackle the homeless problem as well. So please stick around and enjoy the show. And welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, Tanya Tyler, and I'm excited because I have Mr. Michael Barnes on the call today, and we're going to talk about taking your business and bringing it online. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on Mr. Michael Barnes. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Tanya. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Great. You know what? Sometimes, like I said, I get caught up in the pre-call. For those who know, I will talk ahead of time to a lot of my guests that come on, and we were talking and we were sharing some information about how to bring your business on site, and I held Mr. Michael. I said, hold off, you got some great nuggets already. So Mr. Michael, first I want to ask, how are you doing with the whole COVID-19, and tell a little bit more about what you do right now.
So I'm doing all right with the lockdowns. I continue to do a lot of, well, we can talk more about it. When it started, as you may remember, I had a project going that was killed by the lockdowns, and I've since pivoted to making websites. Used to do that for myself. I figured people need them now more than ever, and it was something that I could do sitting at home. So, as you know, Tanya, usually when you and I do a Zoom, I'll be sitting over my easy chair. I figured I'd be formal today and sit in front of a wall instead.
Well, it's always a pleasure. Like I said, Mr. Michael and I have a history, because for those who are going to go over there after I tell you to, check out confidencerise.com. He is the one who put our website together. So I want to say thank you for all your effort and everything. It looks great to me. So
absolutely,
I think you did a great job.
But it was a pleasure working with you.
We were about to dive into the whole bringing your business online, and I was like, hold up, wait a minute, I think this is some good content. So without further ado, I'd like to talk about a little bit more about what you were talking about, how people have more time and how to bring their business more online and maybe make it professional. How?
Yeah. So the reason that I decided to do these websites is, I was looking around for what to do, like a lot of people have been doing in the past year or so. And, I'd made my own websites in the past for Awaken Innovations, and I've got a grant opportunity out there and various other things. And a lot of businesses were struggling, not surprisingly. Suddenly they were shut down and they couldn't have people in the store, but they still need to sell stuff. I mean, that's what a business does. Without that, it goes away. And so I talked to a couple of people and ended up making some websites for people who need to take their business online quickly. And that's been great. So as you know, Tanya, I have done business coaching in the past. And so I think that I give a unique perspective and experience on all this stuff because I ask questions that most of the web designers don't really think of. The other thing, or the other group of people that I noticed, were people who found that they suddenly had time. Maybe positively, they didn't have to do the 2-hour commute, or more negatively, they suddenly found 8 hours a day were suddenly free, Mm-hmm. And many of these people started to realize, with this time, they had ideas in their mind that they wanted to get out there and they wanted to share. And a website was part of that, which is why I was talking to them. And I think a lot of them also came to realize that life is not forever. So they had time, they had a great idea that they wanted to share with the world, and they suddenly had motivation. And so, as you said, you're one of those people. So, you've got this great podcast, sharing great information, and you wanted a website. So we did that. One of my friends has a cigar blog, He'd been doing it for a while and suddenly decided that he wanted to kick it up a notch, and he wanted to start monetizing it and all that kind of stuff. And then another guy that I worked for or built his site. He makes art out of scrap metal. And so he just wanted to show it off. I don't know that he really sells this stuff. Certainly that's not the purpose of the website. And there's a piece on there that says this is all unique. None of these are for sale. So I think he just wanted to share it with the world. And there are a lot of people out there who, with these lockdowns, have had some time for introspection. And as I said, they realize they've had that great idea, and they've always said, I don't have any time. I've got to work. I got to do whatever. And suddenly they said, I do have some time, and I'm not going to be around forever. So let me just go ahead and do it. And so it's been great helping people like that to get their passion out online and shared with the world.
Right. And I want to say, you do, so you helped me talk me through the website, because anyone who's dealt with me or knows of me knows that I am, and I've said it very, very vocally, I am not website savvy. So you actually helped me go through the process, because you asked a lot of, like I said, deep questions that most maybe website builders don't think about. Like, I mean, you thought about, I consulted with you about like the colors and in the fonts and stuff like that, and how to make that as a brand. So I mean, you can get the brand concept, but it's different when you have a coach coaching you through how to build your website. So I think that's a unique perspective that you offer for those who are looking to build their website.
Yeah, and if it's a business going online, I've got a whole checklist, and I'm happy to share it with your viewers. And it starts off with, it's Excel sheets. And the first sheet is, how to select a web developer. The next one is what to do before you take your business online. So for instance, make sure you get an entity, get an LLC or a corporation that protects you and all of your assets. I'm working with a nice older couple. He used to do labor, and then he got injured, and now it's sort of surprising, but it's great. He makes jellies and jams. And so, the first thing that I said is, you're making food. You need to have something to protect your house and your retirement, and also get legal protection. So many people don't have that. Do you do Legal Shield?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's just awesome to be able to call and talk to a lawyer anytime. And people just don't think of it. They want to do everything on their own. But, for me, you look at risk reward, and it's absolutely worth it. And then, before you build the website and selection of the website, all these technical details. And then the thing that a lot of people don't get, and web developers won't necessarily tell you, is a website is pointless unless people find it. So the way I explain it is, a website is like a single apartment in a New York City high-rise. No one is ever going to find you unless you have big, bright neon signs pointing to it, and people are walking around handing out leaflets and all that kind of stuff. For some reason, people think, hey, I've got an awesome website. My business is here. Everyone's going to come buy my stuff. And then they're shocked when no one shows up. Well, you're on the 97th floor of one of 10,000 high rises. No one's going to find you. There are multiple billions of websites.
Right.
You have to work hard to get people to find you.
Right. And I like, this is where I always stop and say, if you're enjoying what Michael is dropping and you're picking them up, those golden nuggets, make sure you hit us up, go to thumbs up, give us a thumbs up, and make sure you put those comments down there below. And like I said, we're going to follow up if you have some more additional questions about some of the stuff and how to effectively build your website. But like I said, before I asked this question, because I was like, you know, you make a really good point, because like you said, you talked to me about even launching a website, and that I was thinking to myself, I've been around savvy people, I've heard business stuff, but it's like nobody ever talked to me really about launching the site. So
Right.
how important is that a part of like letting people know how to launch it once you got it?
Absolutely. Every piece is important. And most people, and I've done it myself, you're like, oh my God, I've got a website. This is awesome. And you tell people, but you miss the opportunity of, having some suspense and telling people, I've got really big announcement coming up in a week. Make sure you pay attention, and, whatever else you do for the rest of that week. And then the big reveal, and all the algorithms are based on engagement and are based on getting some sort of response. And we know from movies and all that kind of stuff that suspense gets response. And yet when we're doing our own business stuff, we very often just want to get to the punch.
Right. I think it sort of reminds me, I was talking to a friend of mine, it's like we rushed to get to the destination, but we forgot to enjoy the ride along the way.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key point that we might have missed. So I want to take a moment to pivot, because there are some other things that you really work on, and this might air a little bit later, but it's always great to share it out there. But you this was not your, as you say, you had to make a pivot with the lockdown. So what's one of the things that I think people should know about that you really have a care and a deep connection for?
I would bet we're going for homelessness here.
Yes, we're going with homelessness, because like I said, it's a tough topic, but it needs to be addressed, and I know you're an advocate for it. So tell us about how this came about and what you're able to gain from it.
So let's see, so many pieces, but a while ago I started a company, and I've continued the company, but it's called Awakened Innovations. And it started out matching nonprofits with high quality vetted service providers. So for those of your listeners who know Fiverr or Upwork, it was sort of a high quality Fiverr or Upwork targeted to nonprofits. I got that to a certain point and decided to try something else. And I wanted to get involved in making change. And so I started, and so hard to describe, a movement maybe, focused around one event. And the event, the first event was called Cincinnati Hacking Homelessness. So the goal was to get 100 people in a room for a weekend, come up with innovative solutions related to homelessness, and then implement. People may have heard of hackathons, and that's sort of where the idea came from. But hackathons are usually just IT, making websites or apps or whatever. This was intended to include IT type stuff, but also physical products and lobbying and whatever. The big difference was to bring in entrepreneurs and venture capitalists and business owners, because usually they're left out of the conversation. Government people and nonprofits, community advocates, whatever, they'll get together in a room, come up with an idea, and then they'll go out and fight against the businesses and the entrepreneurs to try to make some of this happen. My philosophy was, why don't we bring those people in first so that they can come to a consensus of ideas that would serve everyone's purpose? And that was going to be June 6th and 7th of 2020. And that did not happen.
Right.
The lockdowns happened. And so, as I mentioned, I pivoted when the lockdowns happened, and now I'm doing producing websites myself. But I have two things going on right now. Again, it may be too late by the time this airs, but that's okay. I'll probably be doing something else by then. One, I have a grant that I've put out people can apply for it, nonprofits. It's due the end of November of 2020. So, and it's to help nonprofits innovate. So nonprofits have trouble getting money for innovative ideas. And so I'm offering a small amount so that they can do something, high risk, high reward kind of things, right? It goes back to my angel investor kind of mentality. The other thing that I'm working on right now, partnering with two other businesses. One is Reset Business Consulting, Maria Daniels, and then Mike Post with the Debt Eliminator. And right now we're collecting items to hand out in care packages to the homeless here in Cincinnati. And I've seen a number of people do these things. I don't feel like I was being that innovative, but no one else seems to do it. So I'm not sure what's up. I just made an Amazon wish list. And so anyone can click to go to the Amazon wish list. They know exactly what we want. They purchase an item. If you've got Amazon Prime, like most people, it seems, it ships for free to Reset. Collections happening at Reset Business Consulting. And we set up a paypal.me link for donations. So we're looking to make care packages for 100 homeless people, or 100 packages. And yeah, again, it'll be a different time when this airs, but it's getting cold.
Right.
It's just starting in the past week or two to really get cold. So it's desperately needed. With the lockdowns, numbers fluctuate. 30 to 40 million people lost their jobs. I have heard estimates that there are going to be another 20 million people who lose their homes. And, we already have 500,000 a year, or a day, a night, 500,000 each night are homeless in the US. And so, we've got to do something. And I am a big believer in voluntary action. I'm a big believer in working together to solve problems. Don't wait for government. Don't wait for nonprofits. Don't wait for anyone else. We can do something literally today, and so let's do it.
Right. Yeah, and I know you didn't expect us to really talk about it, but like I said, it's like you never know who or might be inspired by your message, and
Yeah,
I got that.
I love to talk about it. There are so many topics that people don't talk about, and for whatever reason, we seem to have the mentality or the mindset, let's leave it for someone else to solve. And if it's a social issue like that, many people say, well, government should solve it. I'm not a fan of big government. I am a fan of doing things. So, even if you love government, they're not going to do what you want, when you want, where you want. So just do it.
Right.
As you and I have learned, it makes so much sense. And visualize and, find ways to make it happen, and, believe you can, and you can.
Right. And I want to, we can go deep and dive into another conversation. So I would like to welcome Michael to come back. And I know you might have touched on, what's the one thing you really, I think you might have touched on, what's the one thing you really want to leave the audience before we wrap up?
So many, two completely separate topics. For websites, there are a lot of things to think about. And I'll give Tanya the checklists and she can share them however she wants. But in the world, there's so much to be done. Just do it. Life is not forever. You can't just keep waiting around and saying, it's going to be better. It's going to be right tomorrow. Just go ahead and get started.
Right. So thank you for your wisdom. And I really want to wrap up. Where can people find more information about you, your services, and what you do?
Well, thanks, Tanya. So to find more information about me, the easiest way is Facebook. I'm Michael Barnes on there. I also have a business page, Awakened Innovations. And so that's probably the easiest way to find me. I do have a website. It's sort of the cobbler's kids have no shoes sort of thing. I've recently built a website for my website company, and it's at portfolio.awakened-innovations.com. So that's kind of harder to remember. But if you just go to Facebook and look for Awakened Innovations, you'll find me, or go look through Tanya's friend list and you can find me there as well.
Yes. And I want to say also, feedback is always welcome. Email us if you have any guests and show ideas, and definitely all the links that Michael had mentioned will be posted in the description box, so you can always find them out down there. So make sure you check out those gems down below. And I also want to say thank you for watching, and again, thank you for Michael, your sharing your insight and stuff like that. And we're going to get your message out there as best we can. And I also want to remind everybody, if you're enjoying the insight that everybody's sharing, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And remember, take things in stride, go with the flow, and create your own path. And we'll see you back here on another episode of Coffee with Tea. Share with us, what was one of your takeaways from today's show? Post your answers in the comments. Hi everyone, this is Tanya again, popping in to say thank you for listening to today's show. Coffee with Tea interviews are always free, and if you're enjoying the wisdom and insights that are being shared, please stay and grow with us and show your financial support. You can buy us coffee or become a monthly supporter. Links are posted in the description box. And again, I wanted to personally say thank you for tuning in.